Now let us explore some of the lookup functions in Excel, and we will start with the choose function. Now before we proceed further with any form of lookup functions, I would also like to give you a brief idea about the concept of index number. Now whenever you have some set of data in a particular list, we would call it as a list of items. For Excel, it appears as an array, okay, what we also call as a list. Now let us take an example of a list of fruits. So we have apples, and then we have oranges, mangoes, and grapes. And let's add melons as well. Now considering this, let us keep a count on what all list items that we have under this list of fruits. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 line items over here under the list of fruits. Now, what is the index number over here? Now, if this is the list and I want to know which is the third item in this list, this number 3 becomes the index number for Excel. And so Excel will return the value as mangoes. And if I want to know what fruit is mentioned in number 5, so the number 5 becomes the index number. And the moment I give this as an index number, Excel will return the value as melons. So how does this work with the choose function? Let's try this out here. I say choose. Now index number, let's say I want number 4. Fourth in the list. Now I need to specify the list within the choose function. And here it asks for value 1, 2, 3, and so on. So first I'll select apples, comma, oranges, comma, mangoes, comma, grapes, comma, melons. We do not have any more fruits in this list, else the choose function can take a lot more as well. Well, generally it takes up to 254 values only. So we see the fourth in the list is grapes. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4 in this list, and that fourth was grapes. What if I were to shuffle this? Let's say the one in the last, that was melons, I pull it up over here to second position. So we have E7, that is the blue cell, which is apples, and then we have E11, which is melons in this list. In this list of values, melons is second. Then we have oranges, then mangoes, and grapes. If I hit enter, what should be the result? Will it still show as grapes? No. It will show the result as mangoes. Why? Because this is the list of values that you have, and amongst this list, we are asking Excel or the choose function to return the fourth in this list. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fourth one is the green cell, which is mangoes. And this is how the index number is used with the choose function. Now, it would be inconvenient to have the number manually changed over here all the time. So what I would do is I would select this particular place over here. We have this, and then we have the list. So now whatever number I enter in this particular cell, we get the result. So as of now, it gives a hash value error, and make a note of this. Why does it return the hash value error? Remember, by default, Excel considers a blank cell as a 0, and within this list, the index numbering starts from 1, and it can go all the way up to 254. So choose function accepts up to 254 values. Now, if the number right now it's taken as 0, so 0 does not exist in the list because the indexation or the index numbering starts from 1. So -1, -2 or zeros do not fall within this range. If you want to try, you can just test it out. This is the target cell. Let me highlight this, and I put 0. It's a hash value error. If I put 1, you see I get apples. If I put 4, now 4 should have been grapes, but if you remember, I shuffled the list within the choose function, wherein I brought melons to the second in the list within the choose function. I hit enter, and you see it's mangoes as per the choose function. It's just the shuffling done. Now, had I not changed this list and brought melons towards the end and hit enter, you see, number 4 in the list is grapes. Now, this is quite convenient. I hit 5, we have melons. Now I hit 6 and hit enter. Well, we don't have that. What if I add 6 over here and put something like kiwi fruit? Well, it does not add up to it. It does not pick it up from here because within the choose function, I did not link it. So I need to link the 6th line item, that is kiwi fruit. Now, the moment I hit enter, Excel detects that. Okay, now this is how generally the choose function works in Excel. Now, what is the value of this? We do have many other lookup functions. Why do we need to use a choose function, especially when we have to select each line items in the list like this? Now, every function in Excel has its own specific importance. Although we can perform the same task with multiple functions in Excel at times, but in certain scenarios, there is this choose function that can outshine the VLOOKUP as well. Now, the choose function is very useful when creating scenarios in an Excel-based model, wherein by merely selecting one scenario, we can see its impact across the model. Let me show you how. We have a mini case over here, and we have the sales and expenses figures for the initial 6 months of a business. And we have 3 scenarios over here. Scenario 1, which is optimistic scenario. Scenario 2, which is expected scenario or the base case scenario. And number 3, the third scenario. And the third scenario is pessimistic scenario. Now, I would like to see the final outcome for those 6 months over here. I mean, in terms of total sales, total expenses, what has been the profit before tax, and the tax amount, and profit after tax. Let's figure this out. But first, can we have the totals over here? We can use the sum function, which we had discussed earlier in basic Excel. So we just need to select the numbers, close the brackets. Well, we also have a keyboard shortcut, Alt equal to, that can help us here. Or you might just want to select them as it is and click over here for auto sum. That's the sum. If you were to click on this drop down, you can also perform an average, count, max, min. You can get any of these, but by default, we are going for the sum. So here we have them. And again, click on this. Well, if you were to double click on the cell, you will see the sum function already embedded by Excel. Okay. Now, based on the scenarios over here, I need to get corresponding sales value. And I say, let's say it's scenario 1 that I'm talking about. Now, if I select scenario 1, appropriately, I should see the corresponding sales and expenses from scenario 1. If I select scenario 2, well, for the sales and expenses, we are talking about the totals, not just 1 month. And then for scenario 2, we need the totals here, from here, and for scenario 3, we need totals from here. So let's start with this. We say choose index number. Here we have this, comma. Now it's asking for value 1, 2, 3. We just have 3 scenarios, so I'll select this is for sales. So first scenario, that's optimistic, comma, expected, that comes next in the list, and pessimistic, 3 in the list. As of now, we just have 3 scenarios. We can have a lot more as well. And just close the brackets. Well, you see, the moment I hit enter, scenario 1, this was the first in the list selected. Let me show you. First in the list was the red cell. That's this. And then the purple one. And then the green cell. Now, if I were to change this to 2, well, it comes to this. Let me just do a basic formatting. I would hit Control Shift exclamation and I'll remove the decimals and set this. Now this is a lot better. Can we try a similar thing with the expenses as well? Please try it out by yourself and then come back to this video to see how I complete this. So I say choose, again the index number, and then the value 1, 2, 3. Now ensure that the sequence does not change over here, otherwise it would be quite confusing, because we have clearly stated scenario 1 is this section, scenario 2 is this section, and 3 is this section. If the order of selection is mismatched, then irrespective of whatever scenario that you mention over here, Excel will fail to recognize the right number here. So be very careful when you're selecting the order in which they are to be selected or mapped. Hit enter, and we have this. This is the second scenario. Okay.